Neo is plugged in on the back of the neck, which is the reptilian brainstem. The reptilian brain is all to do with survival mode, survival state. It's always scanning the environment for safety, whether that's physically, emotionally, or mentally. It does not think. It is instant. For example, do I smack the guy or run off? If something happens to you, like a car's coming really quick to you, you do not think about this. The reptilian brain is the animal instinct that will instantly move your body on the instant reactions. Hence why it's the closest brain to the rest of the body. It has instant access to the electrical nervous system to control the body at instant reactions. Now, Neo is plugged in on the back of the neck, which is the reptilian brain. Therefore, the matrix is the body itself. It is the lowest state of consciousness. This is what it represents. The word matrix means womb. It translates to womb because your body is a womb. Your body is a vessel for universal consciousness, for God consciousness. And the body is also a womb where you can be born again outside of this body by raising your consciousness, by awakening the neocortex. This is why Neo is called Neo, because it represents the neocortex. This is the higher aspect of our brain. This is all to do with new things, higher reasoning, higher thinking, new learning. You see, the brain is a receiver for universal consciousness. Now, what do I mean? It is a radio receiver. Think of it like this. You have a radio tower which emits frequencies, and each little frequency, 00.1, 00.2, 00.3, each 00 point is a different person. We are all the same universal consciousness, encapsulated inside of a different vessel. This is why our body is the temple of God inside of the Bible. Your body is a sacred temple of the divine essence of the universe. However, consciousness is controlling this physical body. And I'll show you this diagram here. Consciousness consists of imagination, emotions, thought, and memory. All of these things are not physical. They're not made out of atoms. You cannot think with atoms. If I split open your brain while you are thinking of a cheesecake, I would not see a cheesecake. It's because these things exist metaphysically within consciousness. They are not physical. The body is physical. It's part of matter. It's part of time. You see the Leonardo da Vinci, the circle and the square. The square represents limitation, beginning and end, because when you draw a square, there is a beginning and end. It represents the body, the mortal self, the ego, the echo. Then you have the spirit raised above, which represents spirit over matter, mind over matter. Invisible forces create physical forces. Everything physical exists in non-physical. This is also the Freemasonic square and compass, why the square is below the compass, because the compass creates the circle, which is spirit or mind. Then you have the square, which is matter. Mind and matter are the same substance. Mind creates matter through thought. Everything in this physical universe manifested through thought. Everything began as thought. So you are spirit and matter. You have a material body and a spiritual body. And you are right in the middle. This is why humans are very, very important. Because we have an animal nature, the reptilian brain, and a higher consciousness, the neocortex. And we must awaken out of the matrix, which means womb, which is the body. And Neo is waken up from the lower self, the reptilian brain, and moves into the neocortex. Because the brain is a radio receiver for consciousness. Now, what do I mean? I went over this before. Your consciousness is controlling the brain. The brain is a computer. And when our consciousness, our imagination, our emotion, our thoughts, and our memories are all contributing towards just survival things, food, safety, fear, all of these things, and our consciousness is locked into a survival state. We are using the reptilian brain. We're no longer thinking. You don't think with the brain, but the consciousness is thinking, which activates the different parts of the brain. When we think for higher reasoning, we use the neocortex. It stimulates the neocortex. When we think about survival, we're using the reptilian brain. So therefore, when Neo wakes up, he wakes up to the higher aspects of consciousness, which is only utilized by the neocortex, by learning new things and expansion of the mind and expansions of consciousness. Okay? So the whole matrix is to keep you designed. Well, the whole matrix is designed to keep you in a survival state, in the three-dimensional awareness. They want you constantly scanning for safety, scanning for food, scanning for emotional safety in relationships and other people. You see, they do not want you to think. They want you stuck in that reptile, that animal state, that beastly state that most people are in. Most people, all they do is eat, listen to music, consume, have sex, lust, desire. This is all the reptilian brain. So when we say the world's being ran by reptilians, it's symbolic. There is no physical reptilian humanoid beings controlling, manipulating human consciousness. We are all the same consciousness. However, there is a corrupted state of consciousness running this world. And this consciousness worships the physical plane, and they control the physical plane. So by doing that, they keep you stuck in a reptilian way of thinking, the animal state, to keep you stuck in the lowest state of consciousness. Now, this is the god Osiris, which represents the reptilian brain. None of the Egyptian gods ever existed. They are all symbolic for the brain and anatomy of the human body. Osiris represents the reptilian brain. As you can see, this anatomy compare to the brain stem and Osiris statue found in Egypt. And we also see an ancient artwork of Osiris with green skin and two reptile crocodile alligators next to him, which also symbolizes the reptilian survival state of human consciousness and the activation of the reptilian brain. This is what it symbolizes. Now, this is what the Matrix is all talking about. It's talking about the awakening, the expansion of consciousness. The word divine is dive in because you connect with the divine by diving inward. There is no man in the sky going to save you. You must connect with the self. Know thyself. Truth comes from within. All of these things I'm telling you comes from within you. I'm just pointing it out. All of this is self-realization. A lot of people say, well, what are my sources? My sources is knowing thyself, observing thyself, using the neocortex of critically thinking, sitting down and thinking about yourself and having deep realization of yourself. You can realize that your thoughts are not of this physical world. It's quite simple. The brain does not think. The brain does not imagine. The brain does not hold memory. All of these things exist in consciousness, the one consciousness, but we are all fractal, infinite parts of. This is the eye on the triangle, consciousness being given down to the rest. This is separate. Consciousness is separate from the rest of the pyramid. The pyramid is your body. Neo is the one consciousness. This is the Egyptians symbolizing the one consciousness giving Ankh, which is life, to all the different life forms. However, you can see that the central sphere is giving a big Ankh to the humans, because humans, like I said, possess the advanced consciousness, an advanced brain that allows us to turn above our reptilian animal self. For example, we can go against our reptilian lower animal nature and turn to our godly nature. Animals cannot do that. They are stuck in instinct. They are stuck in a reptilian animal way of thinking and operating. Everything they create is to survive. We can turn against our lower nature and create for amazing things like buildings, architecture, technology. We can use our creative consciousness for anything we wish, not just survival needs. And it's the same with your spiritual journey. You can raise your consciousness beyond this animal state that they try to keep you in through fear, consumption, food, and the reptilian brain. We must awaken, start to think critically, and awaken to our divinity. Because the mind, the consciousness within you has infinite potential to expand. There are infinite fields of knowledge that you can explore. The mind can never be filled. It can never ever be full of knowledge. It always expands, and that's why you are alive. That's why you are part of this universe. That's why the science always says the universe is always expanding, because the universe exists in your mind, and the mind is always expanding into new fields of thought, new fields of knowledge and information. And that is your whole sole purpose of expansion of mind and expansion of consciousness and the exploration of the mind of God. We are living in the mind of God. You are a thought in the mind of God. You must awaken out of this body. This is why Jesus says you must be born again to see the kingdom of God. You must be born again. You must raise your consciousness beyond physical limitation and awaken to your divinity. And this is pretty much it for this video. I hope you all understand this, that this is all symbolic for consciousness.